So we're now moving up for the lightweight women's double scull, Imogen Grant's event. And in this one, it's only 2 will qualify for the Olympic Games.
That's right, top 2. And from the top of our picture, this is the Polish crew, Martina Radosz and Katarzyna Welna, who have both raced together before. Really close to qualification last year at Worlds as well. From Austria, Lara Tiefenthaler and Luisa Altenhuber. From Denmark, a bit of a newer crew, Maria Mort Pedersen and Zoe Elizabeth Dixon. From Hungary, a home favourite, there's going to be a lot of support for these two, Dorina Cizili and Dorothea Bene. And rounding out the field for Portugal are Bruna Parente and Ines Oliveira.
Yeah, this Portuguese double is a very new crew. I think it's Ines Oliveira's first international regatta. The lady in the stroke seats, 25, Bruna Parente, 22. Tough ask for them in this near side lane 5 with the wind blowing across from the far side.
And again, Imogen, it looked like quite a long hold there as the crews were sat on the start with their blades square in the water. All 5 crews handling those conditions and getting away well. Yeah,
all 5 crews off clean, a high rate of striking as we often see in these lightweight events. And thankfully here they've got boots as well, so the bows of the boat are held in a nice straight line even with the crosswind there.
Yeah, the boot being that plastic shoe that sits around the bow of the boat that then disappears under the water when the light turns green. Just one thing to notice here, you'll see the organisers have pushed the crews out onto this far side of the course, so looking to make the conditions as fair as possible. So although that far side of the course is favoured, there's as little shelter as possible for the 5 crews.
Yeah, that's right, and these lanes were seeded based on the race for lanes that all 5 of these crews did a couple of days ago, so the winner of that race was Poland, followed by Austria, and so that's why they've got those slightly more sheltered lanes on the far side of this lake.
So it's the Austrian double of Altenhuber and Tiefenthaler out in the lead. The 28-year-old Altenhuber finished 14th in the Tokyo Olympics with Valentina Cavalier. And of course, we do remember Christoph Siegfriedsberger, who sadly lost his life last year, and Lara Tiefenthaler said, you know, the hardest thing for her was the loss of her best friend, Christoph Siegfriedsberger. So it will be nice if, you know, that heartache can be covered up with an Olympic qualification. That's the stroke lady there, 24-year-old Lara Tiefenthaler.
Great shot there of the Polish crew as well, Radosz and Welna. Experienced crew, and the Poles have had a reasonable chopping and changing of a few of their really good lightweights to find a double that they're really happy with, and they've settled on this combination for now, and they've gone through the first 500 just about half a length up on the Austrians, who have a bit more distance over the front of the field. So far going as we would expect, and those crews are going to want to just keep pushing out from the positions that they're in at the moment.
Yeah, those are the crews on the far side. This is the reverse angle shot that you're looking at, and you can see ahead to the Austrians, and then the Polish double. In the stroke seat of the Polish double is Kat Welna, the 30-year-old from Krakow. Behind her, Martina Radosz, who was in the Rio Olympics, finished 7th, and she went away, had a family. She's done a bit of rowing coaching, but now the big Bosch sculler is back in the team. She sculled in Rio with Veronika Derej. I don't know if you know that name, Imogen, but that was the double, what would it be, 8 years ago for Poland?
Yeah, before my time, I'm afraid.
Yeah, okay.
But no, this is a really classy crew. They came 8th at Worlds last year, just 1 place off qualifying directly from the World Championships. So their focus will have been on this European qualification since then. And for Austria, this is a crew that's really stepped up over the last few years. They came Austria, they came 14th at the World Championships last year, so they were not really in the fight for qualification. They're in the C final, so they've really stepped on to be able to push out in front of a really quality Danish and Hungarian and Portuguese crews here.
Christoph Engel, the coach of the Austrian crew. They've already qualified one, Magdalena Lobnig, who of course had to miss the first World Cup in Varese with a back problem. Magdalena, we hope you're well and watching this World Rowing production of your teammates looking likely to grab a qualification slot for the Olympics. I think there's just one open for Austria, so it could well be this double to go through, although I think there is a men's lightweight double too, Greg.
Yeah, there is an Austrian men's lightweight double. They're going to be over here on lane 6. So like you say, the Austrians already have one crew, one boat going to the Olympic Games, but this highly likely to be the second, but as we say, not confirmed until the National Olympic Committees do that.
Yeah, and just a word of warning, the Poles already have one qualification through to the Paris Olympics, which is the men's quad that we saw yesterday, I think grabbed 3rd place in the European Championships. So Poland can qualify one crew, I think, through this regatta.
Yeah, and we're looking at this women's double here, and they've also got a men's light double in the next race. So there might be some jeopardy there between who gets the highest finishing place perhaps in this race, and then maybe they're the ones who get the ticket. So although they're racing the boats in the same race as them, they might also be needing to do better than their men's lightweight double does.
Yeah, if the men's lightweight double win, I think they might be all right. But if they finish 2nd or 3rd, then yes, I think that's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
If you get gold, if you get 1st position, then I think you are allowed that qualification.
I'll tell you, it's a minefield, these qualification rules, but rowing does that to spread out universality, so important for our sports position in the Olympic Games.
Just a little thing I've noticed in this Austrian crew, the bow rowers using those clams, little orange clams, to ease the gearing slightly, but the stroke rower isn't.
So what's the thing, Imogen, in terms of gearing change, you know, which is how hard or easy the blades come through the water? Obviously the blades are coming through slower in a headwind. Did you ease the gearing yesterday?
No, we didn't change the gearing yesterday. I think the clam's actually on the other side of the blades, and neither of them are using them to lighten the gearing for this race. Often in a headwind, what I would say actually, it's a little bit more about sort of self-gearing, making sure that your body's in a strong position. We don't tend to do much changing of the gearings. We know what works for us, and I think that might be the case for these crews as well.
Yeah, I tend to think that's a good idea. I'm imagining perhaps they've got their clams there. They might have used them in the warm-up to perhaps try and change the gearing when they were warming up, because some of the warm-up will have been into the headwind, some of it will have been the tailwind, so try and make it as realistic as possible for the warm-up. Of course, they're not using them in the race here.
So the jeopardy is the Danes are really going to hang on to that 3rd place ahead of the Hungarians in the hope that something might happen, that the Polish don't get the nod.
They could still come 3rd, and then if one of these two crews don't take up their place for the Olympic Games, it might get pushed down one to the 3rd finishing crew. Yeah.
But I guess they have another chance if their federation enters them at Lucerne for the final Olympic qualification regatta, the so-called Regatta of Death, where two crews from the sort of the whole world of rowing could go through. But this is by far the most straightforward qualification route.
Yeah, what a fantastic overhead shot here. You can see the top 3 crews in this event. The top 2 are the 2 that will qualify for the Paris Olympics, and at the moment there's big gaps between those 2 crews, and lots of noise as the crews come into the final 250 in front of the grandstands. Getting to the Olympics is such a huge achievement, and hopefully these crews are far enough ahead that they might even be able to enjoy it as they cross the line.
Well, it's a moment they'll work for, isn't it? 3 of the wins, having not qualified at the World Championships last year, putting themselves in that difficult position all season, not knowing whether the year could end here, but the year for them looks like it will carry on to the Paris Olympic Games.
So I guess the families of Martina Radosh and Katarzyna Welna in Bydgoszcz and Krakow are watching on as they see their crew there. In the case of Radosh, the mum, coming up to the line to grab another Olympic qualifying slot. 8 years apart, she was in Rio. The Austrians
are going to the Olympics.
Yeah,
God, massive sprint finish from them. You can see how much that cost them.
Look at that celebration from Kat Welna. The Danes coming in 3rd place, out of an automatic qualification slot. And the Portuguese are beating the Hungarians, 5th place for them.
Yeah, the Portuguese just passing us now. You see them on the screen there with these lovely shots of the race in these tough conditions, but the Polish handled it very well with that Really connected looking stroke, took them all the way across the course. We see those two finish in first and second, the Polish and the Austrians. Let's say we need to wait for the men's lightweight double scull before we can confirm it, but it's looking pretty likely that these top two finishers will have earned a place at the Olympic Games.